God, do you have a favourite Luke Cage quote?
I do actually, and it's from a comic where he travels to Latveria, funnily enough, and it's where he steps off of a plane and just says, "I just increased the black population of Latveria by 200%. Luke Cage is a comic book character who has had many adventures over the years, some of which have been realised in live action for a Netflix TV show that immediately got cancelled. And as good as that show was, I think it would have been better reviewed if it included the storyline of that time Doctor Doom got his ass beaten by Luke Cage over $200.
So anyone who's seen the Netflix show will know Luke Cage is a Marvel superhero.
Yes, and he has like the ability of indestructible skin. And like in the comics, he's like a bit different how he's portrayed in the show, in that he's shown to be a lot stronger than the TV show makes him out to be. So I think in the TV show, like, he can lift a car or a fridge in one episode, and then in the comic books, he can like drop kick Juggernaut in the dick with enough force to stop him. A villain who has enough force who can like, basically moonwalk through a mountain. So there's a discrepancy there between live action Luke Cage and comic book Luke Cage. I think like live action Luke Cage makes up for it though by just smouldering while staring into the middle distance. So he's got that shit on lock. He spends so much time in that show just staring into the distance while just speaking to nobody in particular. It's the small fact that he's so attractive. Like why? Like, why is Mike Coulter just so cut in that show? It's ridiculous. Although I did like in the second season of Luke Cage, you can very clearly tell that Mike Coulter was like, fuck going to the gym. I don't know if it's like been confirmed anywhere, but I distinctly recall in the first season he gets like his shirt off all the time and he wears like super like tight fitting t-shirts. And then in season 2 he's wearing a lot of like XL t-shirts that are made of like very heavy fabric. It's like, oh, you just didn't want to put your effort in for this one, did you? You just wanted to give speeches to camera. You didn't want to do anything like physically imposing or impressive.
I actually barely remember anything from season 2 other than the crossover with Iron Fist.
No, it's fine because who gives a fuck?
Surely it's cancelled so they can bring them all back on Disney.
Think about it, Brad. Would you really bring back the actor who played Iron Fist and put him in another show and spend millions developing it when you've already got fucking like Sebastian Stan signing on to do a fucking Winter Soldier TV show? So let's be honest here, Brad. What do Marvel fans really want to see? Sebastian Stan fastball specialing Anthony Mackie into a group of bad guys while he's wearing robot wings? Or Finn Jones like waving his hands around while like doing like vaguely racist Asian accents? I want to see the White Wolf just kicking the shit out of everybody while occasionally getting like cameos from like the Avengers. I don't want to see like billionaire Danny Rand like eating his M&Ms to earn that product placement money. Fuck you. I noticed it. That first season of fucking Iron Fist, where you can clearly tell they didn't have enough money for the budget. So in the first episode, like M&Ms are a plot point. Really? Really, Netflix? You don't get enough fucking money off people?
I find it really funny, right? The Disney, like the term Mickey Mouse money,
yes,
is always used like to refer to fake money, even though right now
Disney
Mickey Mouse money is worth a lot.
Disney is baller as fuck. I can't believe how low budget that like season of Iron Fist was. It's like you can tell they didn't. We talked before, like they had 10 minutes to rehearse fight scenes with what is supposed to be the greatest martial artist in the Marvel universe. And I think to the point now where they basically just like slowly shuffled off Danny Rand and the Iron Fist. And I think they're bringing in like Shang-Chi in another movie or some shit. It's like, you know what? He's ruined the idea of like the mystical martial arts based character. So let's just fuck him off. Start making these shows and bring in Shang-Chi in the future.
I feel so sorry for Finn Jones, because they gave him this role and they said he got like 3 odd weeks, whatever it is, to learn martial arts.
I would feel bad for him if not for the fact that when they did like pre-release like screenings and gave like reviewers a couple of episodes and the reviews were really bad, they asked Finn Jones about it and, well, it's not for reviewers, it's for the fans. And then obviously fans watched it and went, well, the show's still shit, what's your excuse now? And they deleted Twitter. I get it, nobody likes getting bad feedback, but to just say, oh, it's not for reviewers, it's for fans, so you mean it's shit? There's 2 ways to read that. It's like, fans don't deserve quality television, or fans will eat any shit we give them because it's got the Marvel logo on it, and both of them are equally as fucking offensive, and I see why people are pissed off about it.
Well, that's the DC fans go to, isn't it?
Yeah.
When the films haven't turned out as good as they could.
When the critical
sign this petition to get
release the Snyder Cut.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
It got a critical mauling, which is not for critics, it's for fans. It wasn't for me. That film sucked ass, I'll say that. I'm a fan of DC. Not those movies, though. Fuck you.
Takes its feedback very seriously.
It does, yes. Like, leave a comment below if you've got any feedback about this episode.
You're going to get those people like, you can't tell us to leave a comment when the comments aren't visible.
Well, they are visible to you. I'm not fucking reading them. The thing is, I'm great at taking feedback from people that I respect and know. Well, to be fair though, how much of the success of the channel has been directly related to me ignoring feedback and suggestions from other people? The only reason we're sat here right now at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, like talking about Luke Cage's like glistening man abs and the fact he beat up a robo-dictator, is because I said, fuck this YouTube, like we're doing it my way. I got my Frank Sinatra on, and now we get to sit here and this is our job. I've never got a thank you.
420.
So I think you should do that now.
You want me to thank you?
On camera, yeah. I want my head to just swell out of frame as you do this. I'm only kidding, let's go. Getting back to the character of Luke Cage, despite in the comics being described as someone strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with entities like the Hulk and the Juggernaut, if he really needs to, he's described as being a mostly street-level hero, which essentially means he fights criminals even Spider-Man doesn't give a shit about.
So what is a street-level superhero?
Well, it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a superhero who deals with shit that affects the working man on the street. So, and they will stick usually within one city, or even in some cases, like a specific borough of a city. Like Daredevil is a street-level hero, because obviously he works in Hell's Kitchen, then Luke Cage in, like, you know, Harlan. And like in the shows, it's similar, but I think in the comics, it's a bit sillier, because they've been in comics so long that they have dealt with like galactic-level threats sometimes. But for the most part, Luke Cage is content, just like, you know, just stomp around New York, beating the shit out of criminals, part of the Heroes for Hire. Except for that time, Doctor Doom, of all people, hired him to beat up some robots that he'd accidentally made and released. As an aside, before we continue, I think a good comparison for, like, you know, the hierarchy of heroes from street level to ones who deal with, like, you know, multiversal threats is actually like the threat system they use in One Punch Man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so I can't remember off the top of my head, so I put the clip in to like show people what they are. But they go all the way from like, oh, this will affect like one part of one city. This can affect an entire city. This can affect multiple cities. This affects a continent. This is a threat to the entire fucking world. And they like rank those threats, and depending on like what threats they have, they send in different heroes. And I think it's similar in the Marvel universe, where like if there's a big enough problem, we will call up street level heroes. But for the most part, we let them do their own thing.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen One Punch Man, they have a superhero organization, and when you join it, they rank you based on how good you are, and that is the point where they'll send you in.
So, for example, if there's a guy robbing a supermarket, they're not going to send in the person who's going to level a city with their mind. They'll send in Moomin Rider!
Oh, Moomin Rider's the best character!
Moomin Rider is an S-rank hero in my eyes. He tries the hardest.
He's an S-rank by heart.
He is, because he tries the hardest. It's like, what's the best Moomin Rider moment?
I mean, whenever he uses the bike.
Yeah, is it Justice Crash? Where he just crashes into an entity capable of levelling a continent, and he does it even though he knows he's going to lose, because that's what a hero would do. And he's just like, Justice Crash! And just crashes into a fucking guy. Before we move on, we talked a lot about One Punch Man. I don't think we ever discussed like the lower level heroes and which ones we like the most. Obviously, Moomin Rider is like S-rank God Miracle tier. He's above all heroes in that universe besides One Punch Man himself. But like, what's your favourite like just like B or C tier hero that's introduced in that series?
Who's the one with the stick?
Which one?
There's
a lot of characters got a dumb stick.
The thing is, like, I forgot most of them because all I remember is Moomin Rider.
Yeah, because Moomin Rider, he's just so good. It's the amount of swagger. Like, who's your favourite? Like, there's got to be a side character you like.
I don't remember the names. Who's the buff guy from prison?
What, Puyo Prisoner?
Yeah, him.
Oh no, Puri Prisoner. Just Angel Crash! His entire power set revolves around the dong.
I also love anyone who can basically just grow larger through like sheer determination.
I'm though a big fan of Speed of Sound Sonic. Like obviously like Saitama's like more self-professed rival.
Oh, that guy.
And all he does like this like, I'm going to do like a lightning fast drop kick to your head and accidentally punches himself in the nuts. We have to though give big old props to fucking Silver Fang himself, the buffest old man in the entire world, who responds to being backhanded like across an entire city by saying, "Oh, thank you for getting the crick out of my neck."
Who's the guy that you said is the one who doesn't have any powers?
Oh,
he's always just there.
Oh, I think it's like I forget his name, but basically, yeah, there's a guy in season 2. I think he's going to be introduced where he's like, it's King. And he's like, oh, he's the greatest fighter in the world. And it turns out he's just a jackass. He's like Dan Hibiki. He has no power, no fighting ability. And apparently, like, his only discernible trait that makes him different from just a guy who kind of works out a bit is that his heartbeat is really loud when he's nervous, but people mistake it for his, like, you know, his unparalleled fighting spirit. So when he's sat there shitting his pants and people start hearing like, that's his fighting spirit building up, we better not mess with this guy, and just leave and quit. He wins by a reputation alone.
So why would a street level hero who only deals with like muggers and basic robberies and shit,
For the most part, yes.
why would they be working with Doctor Doom, the dictator and mass like supervillain?
Yeah, like super villainous ruler of Latveria. Well, there's one comic where Doctor Doom builds some robots that go rogue, and rather than find them and track them down and destroy them himself, he enlists Luke Cage, like the hero for hire, and he says, I'll pay you $200 to go punch these robots into scrap, which Luke Cage then does, and then Doctor Doom, being, as we've talked about before, a dickhead, stiffs Luke Cage on the bill and fucks off back to Latveria.
Doctor Doom, who like basically owns a country and has all this technology,
Yeah.
and $200 is fuck all to him.
It's more the fact though, that sums up Doctor Doom more than anything though. The fact he's probably a multi-billionaire. Like, it's established that he sells his patents to other worlds, like governments, and then funnels the money back to he's one of the richest people on the planet. And he stiffs a guy on a $200 bill because he can't be arsed. It's not because he can't pay him, it's he doesn't want to waste his time handing the money over, and he fucks off back to Latveria. Like, rather than treating the whole thing as a learning experience and maybe not trust people called Doctor Doom in future, Luke Cage travels across New York to the Baxter building, knocks on the door, asks for the Fantastic Four, tells them what happened and says, can I borrow your jet to fly over to Latveria to get my fucking money? And the Fantastic Four, presumably because they want to see Doctor Doom get taken down a peg, of course hand over the jet to Luke Cage, who proceeds to fly it over to Latveria.
So what does Luke Cage do when he arrives in Latveria?
He punches his way into Doctor Doom's castle and says, and I quote, where's my money, honey? As Doctor Doom turns over and goes, oh, I thought that might have been you, Luke Cage. I've been getting reports of a crazy black man flying around in Latverian airspace in the Fantastic Four's jet. And that is also a direct quote from Doctor Doom, because he just says, I'm getting reports in from a crazy black man, and it's got to be Luke Cage. Because apparently nobody in the Marvel Universe is crazier or blacker than Luke Cage. Just for a moment, Brad, put yourself into Doctor Doom's size 13 metal warlock boots, and imagine you sat there in your castle feeling like pretty proud, like, I'm Doctor fucking Doom. Suddenly you get a report from one of your subordinates saying, Count Doom. It's like, yes. What is it? The Fantastic Four's jet has entered our airspace. Oh, the Fantastic Four! Curse them! I'll crush them like crush them like the outside. Release the Doom box. Well, actually, no, sir. We don't think it's the Fantastic Four. What do you mean it's not the Fantastic Four? Well, it appears to be being driven by a large, crazy black man. It's like, what? What I want to know is how did Doctor Doom's guards see who was flying a jet flying at Mach 3? How crazy and black is this man to they see the obviously you might recognise the Fantastic Four's jet. How do you see who's flying the fucking thing? And Doctor Doom just sat there going, but why is he in here? It can't be over that $200. And then your door explodes. In walks said crazy black man saying, where's my fucking money? And Doctor Doom rightfully gets kind of pissed off and asks Luke Cage, did you seriously get a multi-billion-pound jet, fly all the way over here to get $200? To which Luke Cage responds by punching Doctor Doom in the face. Doctor Doom tries to electrocute Luke Cage, which doesn't work because Luke Cage's got indestructible skin, and just sits there as Luke Cage continues to punch him in the face over and over and over again, until he puts a crack in his armour, which remember has survived hits from the Hulk. Because apparently at that moment Luke Cage is so angry and so black, he's overpowered, he's more powerful than the Hulk himself. And Doctor Doom asks him to stop punching him and hands over the $200. And the comic says Doctor Doom hands it over because he's just impressed with Luke Cage's his gall and his confidence. But I'd like to think that if he didn't hand over the money, Luke Cage would have just killed him. He would have just kept punching until there was just nothing but a wet smear in the dirt. And Doctor Doom, he felt that crack in the armour. Do you know what this reminds me of? That scene in Father Ted, where Father Ted accidentally walks in on the guy's wife and he chases him out. And he's there trying to get his car keys, and dude was like, it's alright Ted, he's a way away yet. And then the guy's like, well, you actually don't want to start hurrying up because you're getting a lot closer now. And I'm just imagining Doctor Doom sat inside his armour going, well, no one man can get through my armour. This is armour integrity 99.9%. And then it drops to 70%, and then 60, and then 40. Well, I better do something now because it's starting to get a bit serious. All I want to see now is a live action imagining of this scene with all the budget Disney can throw at it, just to hear Doctor Doom being like, you fool, no one can get through my armour, as Luke Cage's well, the health bar on top of it says otherwise, Doctor Doom. boom, boom, and you just see like the little bar going down. And I want it to end with Doctor Doom going, fine, 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 and get like a wallet out and just handing over fucking dollar bills.
The thing that amazed me most about this, though, is that this is Doctor Doom.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about it a bit before, but he's got all this technology, he's a wizard, he's got a fucking country and an army.
And one guy he stiffed on a $200 debt managed to beat his fucking ass down and make him humble. And that is the fucking best. So you might think this story sounds pretty dumb, Brad, right?
Yeah.
Like Luke Cage punching his way into Doctor Doom's castle to beat him off over a debt. Like, 'cause it doesn't sound like a very heroic thing to do. It's like to walk in and beat someone up for no reason. Well, actually, there's a reason, but
It's cost of it's $200.
over something so trivial. Well, something similar actually happens in a Batman comic, where Batman finds the guy who shot his parents. And there's multiple comics explaining multiple things Batman has done to this guy, Joe Chill. Well, my favourite one is where basically every night for a week, Batman breaks into his house and just beats him up and leaves. And every time it happens, the guy gets more guards and like more security. And Batman circumvents it every time and beats him up again. And after like a week of getting beaten up, the guy then says like, oh, I can do this whenever I want. I can break in and beat you up whenever I want. Also, you shot my parents, takes his mask off. You can never tell anyone you're the reason Batman exists. And obviously, you can't be a criminal until, like, oh, do you know that guy who breaks into everyone's house and beats the shit out of them has got the reason, oh, your family's in prison? Oh, yeah, I'm the reason for that. So the guy then has to live with the knowledge that he created Batman. He shoots himself. And what I'd like to think is, like, on the third time it happens, the guy's like, oh, no, not again. Just like, you can start sit down at the toilet and just like Batman says, oh, for fuck's sake, how'd you get in here? I just like to imagine that the reason Doctor Doom doesn't do anything to defend himself is he's just so surprised that someone had the balls to just walk up and punch him. It's like, it took him that long to comprehend what was happening, and by which point, like, Luke Cage already punched like 1,000 times in the head. Because I'm just imagining him sat on his throne as like Luke Cage walks in, like reading the reports of a crazy black man in Latvian airspace. As he walks up and he's like, he probably don't even like acknowledge his presence. Like, it's Doctor Doom. Why would I acknowledge this peon in my presence? And then suddenly just a punch hits him in the head, and he doesn't know what it is. He's never experienced the punch. I can't stop thinking of ways I would like to see this scene realised. Like, I want to see it in a fighting game and just see like Doctor Doom's like stun meter getting built up. It's like Luke Cage, he's just doing fucking spinning Hagger lariat combos to it. So good.
So Doom basically has to pay him the money.
Oh yeah, Doom pays the fuck up and Luke Cage leaves.
And then presumably after that, Doom's going to go after him because no one fucks with Doom.
No, Doctor Doom then proceeds to never mention the incident again, and then presumably makes a note in his mind to never ever stiff Luke Cage on a debt ever again. And canonically, he's one of the few people Doctor Doom is scared of, because he's just so worried that he might punch his way into his house again, just beat him up for no reason. Yeah, that happened because comics in the 80s were amazing. I think it's safe to say that, like, you know, an overriding theme of today's video is, like, superheroes doing petty things, correct?
Yeah.
So let's discuss the most famous example in all of comics, and that is that Thanos, in one comic, like, every year on some random person's birthday, uses the Infinity Gauntlet to break into his house and annoy him. Like, this is the thing that happens, it's real, you can look it up. And I just want to discuss now, because Avengers Endgame comes out today. We're going to watch it after this, and I was saying that. So let's imagine for a moment that they decide to put this into the film. And like, while you've got like shots of like, you know, Steve Rogers crying, like, oh, my family's dead, and like Rocket Raccoon being a sad raccoon. What you have like an extended montage set to happy 80s music in the style of Guardians of the Galaxy, of Thanos using the Infinity Gauntlet just to troll people because he's bored. Like, what would you do? Like, let's say for a moment, Brad, you have the Infinity Gauntlet, you have Thanos. You are bored, you've brought balance to the universe, you're waiting for like the Avengers to come beat the shit out of you, but until that time, that's all, do something, and you decide you want to annoy people. What do you use the unlimited cosmic power at your disposal to do?
I'm going to put one random Lego just outside of everyone's showers while they're showering. So when they step out of the shower,
they always
stand on Lego.
No, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the Infinity Gauntlet to every Avenger who wears glasses, like, you know, I think Bruce Banner wears glasses. Like, I'm going to go with his contact lenses, and I'm going to put a single grain of salt in the middle of each of his contact lenses.
Oh.
So every time he puts his contact lenses on, he's just got salt in his eyes. And then I'm going to use the Space Stone to open up a portal, and whenever Tony Stark's having a shower, just piss on his head. Or like usually like upper deckers, like Thanos-sized shit in each of the Avengers toilets, just every time. I love these, like, what control Thanos do? Well, I think the best way for us to handle this, so we don't just like go off on a random tangent for 10 minutes, is zero in on what he would do with each individual stone. So you've got a list of them in front of you right now, haven't you?
Yeah.
So let's start with, what's the first one on the list? I'm assuming the Power Stone?
Power Stone.
Okay, the Power Stone. So what can Thanos do with the power of the Power Stone to piss off the Avengers in the most petty way possible?
I reckon move someone's car on the corner. You parked your car in front of your house, he just moves it around the corner.
Just pushes it around. I'm thinking power in a more like literal sense.
Yeah.
And you just use it to make sure like, your internet router always goes off. Half the world is dead. Why can I still not get on Netflix? Who's downloading? And just makes it, just buffers like 40 terabytes of porn.
Or he just shorts your house out.
Oh,
So you keep having to go and turn the fuse box back on.
Oh man, that was so good. Just every time. Well, not all the time though, just a little bit of a time.
Yeah, just those minor irritations.
Oh no, what he does, he makes it so he drains like 75% of the energy out of each of the batteries in the remote. So it still works. You have to press the button really hard. So it's to the point where you don't
keep having to take them out and hit them.
So you don't want to replace the batteries because it still works, but just not all the time. Or you have to get really close to TV.
No, he'll do that thing when you buy like a new laptop. He'll basically keep powering up the battery and then letting it go dead over and over again until the battery doesn't work properly.
Oh, so your iPhone only lasts like 5 hours. It never lasts no, he makes it so whenever you plug your phone into charge overnight, it doesn't work. So like Tony Stark's got to go like that super like the see-through megaphone he's got. It doesn't charge fully overnight, so he wakes up with 30% and it runs out by lunchtime. Oh, what's the next stone then? Let's keep going.
All right, let's go. Let's go with the Soul Stone.
The
That was a bit
Soul
more
Stone.
awkward.
So what can you do with that? I
Well,
guess
the Soul Stone gives you power over life, doesn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
So I want to make everyone's plants die. Not die, but make them wither a bit. Just make like so your house looks depressed. Your house looks like when your mum just don't give a shit anymore. It's like you've got plants, they're alright, but they're just wilted. Well, the Soul Stone's basically like power over life, isn't it? So I think you should just get like an immortal bee. Make a bee completely immortal so it cannot be killed, and make it so it constantly follows the Avengers around, like right near their ear. And it's just every couple of minutes, just goes right near their ear, no matter what they do. If they hit it with like the repulsor gauntlets or Hawkeye with an arrow, he puts the soul back into the bee and it comes back. It's just an immortal time bee, and it cannot be stopped. So with that in mind, what's the next one?
Time.
Time. Well, good thing. Well, obviously for that, all the clocks in the house got to run at different times. That's the one. Like, make it so they're always late for meetings.
See, I was going to go super harsh and just say go back in time and take loads of selfies of Spider-Man and then send them to Tony in the mail.
So that's a rough one. No, because these got to be petty annoyances.
They've got to
like,
be tight,
what
really
would,
petty.
And the thing is, it's got to be so petty that the Avengers don't even realise Thanos is doing it.
So the clock one's perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
making
like
everything slightly...
every clock in Avengers Tower is now he's like just a little bit off to the point where they can never be on time for meetings.
Could
And
you
then what he
theoret-
does is he makes one of theirs like an hour off. So like basically like they turn up an hour early to a meeting and they've got to sit there on the phone which has got no charge in it. So they're bored in the fucking waiting room with a cup of coffee going, oh, I wish Tony would get here. Oh, go on, what's the next one?
Right, let's go Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone. Well, the Mind Stone, that'd be the best one for that is just make it so they always, do you know when you're like sat in bed and you're about to go to sleep? Make it so that you remember like something really embarrassing you did. So you can't sleep, so you're just like agonising over something stupid you did a couple of years earlier.
I thought you were going to say that what you should do is like every day when say Tony realises he needs to take the bins out, you make him forget it, and then make him remember it when he's in bed, so he has to get up and go and do it
that's a
then.
good one.
Yeah, because you know how annoying it is when you realise the bin's got the next day and you haven't put them out. You have to go downstairs in your pyjamas.
And you realise at 3 in the fucking morning you got to go all the way downstairs. Well, that thing when you walk into a room and you forget. Yeah. Like when you walk through a doorway and you forget something. Do that, but it's all the time.
I'm hoping you can use the Space Stone to make
Okay.
it so the bins are further away.
Oh, that's a strong one. The Space Stone. Well, the Space Stone can teleport, doesn't it?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm just going to say what you should do is just leave, like I said earlier, big shits in the toilet. But like with plausible deniability. Like, do you have to like Black Widow goes in? Like leave a big shit in the toilet and don't flush it. And then when obviously Tony goes in, he'll say, Natasha, did you leave like a big shit in the toilet? And it just starts an argument. It's like, I didn't leave a shit in the toilet. I know how to flush a toilet, Tony. It's like, well, there's a big shit in there. You were the last person in. And then it just starts this whole thing.
Yeah, it won't even flush because you know the Thanoses are like gigantic.
It's like that's
you just see Ant-Man bedded in it.
Civil War 2 begins right here. Alternatively, if it's the Space Stone, he can like to teleport and move stuff around. Yeah. The classic there would be just like move the TV like an inch to the left every time so there's glare on it. So every time I try to watch TV, like, there's glare on this TV again. Who's moved the TV? And every time they like go to the toilet, he does it again. It's like, the glare's still on the TV.
The shenanigans are just moving shit around. Like he could use it to sort of reach in and just pour out someone's cereal. So that you go in the cupboard, Tony's like, who the fuck?
No, yeah.
Who the
An
fuck
empty
ate my
box
Fruit
of
Loops?
cereal. No, what he don't pour it out, he eats it. He goes into the fridge and takes a bite out of their leftovers. So like, just, there's nothing worse. Like I contend that there's nothing worse than someone who steals something from you but doesn't steal all of it. So I say that the worst thing that happens is when someone steals one of your shoes. Because you've still got one shoe, but it's useless and you have to throw the other shoe away. That's what you should do. You should like steal all of like one shoe, or you should eat almost all the cereal so there's enough left for a bowl, but not enough for a satisfying bowl. It's got all the dust on the top. Shit like that. Or enough milk in the bottom where you can't make a satisfying cup of tea with it. So you have a subpar cup of fucking tea, like that much milk.
Well, you mentioned shoes there. The last one's the reality stone.
The reality stone.
Imagine if he made everyone's shoes one size larger. Just one shoe and not the other one. How annoyed you'd be if you put both your shoes on and one was too big.
Well, I've got the ultimate one for this. Use the reality stone, so when people are asleep at night, make them dream that they're at work. So they dream that they're at work. So in their dreams, they do a full day of work, and then they wake up in the morning, and then they've got to go to another full day of work.
Was that not a Mind Stone thing?
I'd say it's a reality stone, because obviously you're altering their perception of reality. Do that. And then what you do is like you make their perception of how fast time at work's going really slowly. Because I think one of the most demoralising, crushing things that ever happened to me is when I had a dream that was really vivid about being at work. And I literally felt I had the entire 9-hour day of being stood there, bored out of my fucking mind. I woke up and I realised I've got to be at work in an hour and I had to go do it all over again.
What I was going to suggest is that you use it to make it look like there's an extra step at the bottom of your stairs. Or vice versa.
Or alternatively, make it, when you're out the corner of your eye, when you think you see a spider, just do that all the time. Like when you like sat on the toilet and you think you see a spider right next to your foot, that. Imagine, like, there's going to be a lot of toilet-based shenanigans in Avengers Tower if I had the fucking Infinity Gauntlet.
Everything happens in the bath.
Because that's where you feel the most vulnerable, so it's where it's the easiest to fuck with somebody.